Hey loves, it's me Cam, and I'm here to talk about a very important topic. This is probably the most important topic I would ever talk about on my channel. And as I mentioned in the beginning, my channel is about everyday living. It is not just about my journey with my natural hair growth. It's about everything that goes on in my life. So my daily activity that is extremely important is me managing my type 1 diabetes. I have been type 1 diabetic for this will be my 20th year anniversary, and I'm so thankful and blessed that I'm going to reach that, God willing, in May of this year without any major complications. I have had some minor complications, but I'm always optimistic about the fact that they are minor and they're not major. It's always on how you look at life. So I'm always optimistic in knowing and believing that I will definitely beat this disease. I've always been hopeful for a cure, but if it does not occur in my lifetime, then I definitely pray that it will occur in future generations. One of the most important organizations I've been part of is the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. I will put their link in the bottom of this video, in the bottom portion of this video, and that is because they have become great advocates for type 1 diabetic research. There are two types of diabetics, and I really should say two. There's two basic types, but there's tons of hybrids, and I'll get into that later too. But there's type 1, which is insulin dependency, and you're insulin dependent from the beginning, and that means that your pancreas does not produce any insulin whatsoever. So I have been type 1 since I was 14, and I'm 33. There's also the type 2 diabetes, and that's also associated with the term adult onset diabetes. And the reason is because a lot of adults tend to develop type 2 diabetes. Now that also can be hereditary, but unfortunately a lot of times it's because of overweight, not exercising, very poor diet. And the difference between a type 1 and type 2 diabetic is that type 2 diabetes have a cure. Type 1 diabetes do not. Type 2 have a cure because if you are very diligent, and it takes a tremendous amount of work to get rid of your diabetes. But I've known two type 2 diabetics, I should say former, because they're no longer type 2 diabetic, because they really took it to heart to get rid of this disease, and they were able to accomplish that through diet and exercise, and it really was an overhaul on how they live their everyday life. I'm quite sure if you googled and looked up cure for type 2, if you are type 2 or your loved one, you can find a tremendous amount of data there, and as always your doctor will have that information too. With type 1 diabetes, because it's autoimmune, meaning that your pancreas shut down at some point, there is no breakthrough for type 1 diabetes is the artificial pancreas, and that's in many different forms. And what that is that it's a device that is on your body, and it performs as closely as possible with today's technology as a pancreas. You still have to use insulin for it, so you still have to use artificial insulin for the device, but it's definitely great in managing your diabetes. A lot of athletes, celebrities, and everyday people use that to help manage their diabetes. I was on an artificial pancreas, and it was called the Omnipod, for about 2 years, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I really plan on going back to it. The reason I went back to insulin shots, which is what I'm on now, I have been, is because I have a toddler. As my daughter got older, she would actually, grab on the pod, or we would be wrestling or playing, and she would hit it and it would default out, and I would have to replace it. So after a while that kind of gets expensive, but it also kind of hurts when it falls out. So I opted to go back to insulin shots, which is a lot more work to it, but I'm still managing my diabetes very well. So the reason I brought this topic up, I wanted to definitely do a video on this, but I'm doing it sooner than what I had planned, is because I got a couple of private messages about this bracelet. And one lady thought it was decorative, and it's not. So that's about as close as I can probably get to it. And this bracelet, I paid for this bracelet. I'm not sponsored. I wish I was. I'm not sponsored. Is a Medicalert bracelet. And the reason I wear this bracelet, you'll always see this bracelet in videos, is because I never take this off. You're not supposed to. The whole point of a Medicalert bracelet is that if you're in a situation by yourself where no one knows you, and in my situation, I have a low and I pass out or something drastic happen, or if I need help, then people can look at this bracelet, or a medical emergency crew can look at this bracelet and go, oh my gosh, she's type 1 diabetic, because that's exactly what it says on the inside of this bracelet. It's engraved type 1 diabetes. I have recommended this bracelet to people who have allergies, to people who have heart problems, to any type of medical issue or problem, that if you were out by yourself and something happened, that people can know that's your medical issue. So this is not decorative. I definitely do not want others to have this bracelet, but I do highly recommend it if you are like myself and you have a medical condition that you're managing. Now, I will say I am very optimistic about my diabetes. I think it's not the diabetes that control my life, is how I control it, and it's how I view my managing of this disease on a daily basis. I view this, my managing my diabetes, very optimistically. Even when my cards is down and I have a low, or I'm fighting the flu like I was a couple weeks ago, and it takes me longer to get over that, I am always optimistic, and I always tell it I beat you, because I still got over that hump. So I always want to encourage you guys, and I hope that this video inspires, and there's more videos like this in the future, that no matter what you're going through, it's not what you're going through, it's the attitude that you take when you're going through it. So hopefully this helps. This is the bracelet, and until next time, love and peace, and always peace and love.